it going, guys? Ethan here from Unsightly Intelligent. With me, as always, my
Jonah
co-host,
Knudsen.
Jonah.
Woohoo.
Today, we got a special guest today for you guys. This is going to be our second one in 5 videos.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. Here he is. Dyson Upka.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the game.
What is this again?
We are talking about video games.
Alright.
We probably should have specified that to you. Kind of just brought you on.
Yeah.
But today we're going to be talking about Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is a game that there's 4 survivors and 1 killer. There's different characters that you could choose, and you. Yeah, why? Oh well, let's continue.
Alright.
So we were interrupted. I'm sorry about that, but like we might have to cut that out. We're probably gonna have to cut that out.
No, that would be Trenton's vehicle.
You can play customs where there's 5 people, usually 5 friends playing together, where there's 4 survivors, 1 killer. You can have every single perk in the game, all the equipment, and you can play any survivor or killer that you wish. The only bad thing about custom is that you don't get XP or blood points. Blood points are used to unlock different perks and equipment for survivors in like the ranked game mode. There's different equipment based on the survivor or killer that you're playing with. Like some of the survivors have flashlights, med kits,
Toolboxes.
yeah, toolboxes, the
Firecrackers.
skeleton key.
Skeleton key.
What's some of the add-ons that the killers have?
The killers have it's all selective to the killer, because no matter what they have, like say we're using a trapper, that's literally the default killer. They have their little bear trap and they have add-ons for that. It's just stuff like easier to set off, harder to get off. Make it so that way you can literally die attempting to get off. It's just stuff like that. And then they have like for the add-ons, it's typically simpler stuff. Like it'll be like generators are harder to repair. Like the mist will be darkened, which doesn't really help you. So I don't understand the point of it. But just like stuff like that. I think there's one for where the scratch marks are more abundant. So therefore it's easier to detect the survivors because that's like the whole objective is to kill everyone.
Yeah, he's our killer expert. Like, I only know a few things about killer. Like, I know Huntress, Huntress is the only ranged killer in this game. She can throw hatchets, and, like, you can have an add-on that makes her hatchets one shot instead of injuring the people, but you get less hatchets.
You get 1 hatchet.
There's also another add-on that you can have 3 hatchets.
Not with that one.
Yeah, there is.
No, because you can only equip 1 add-on. Do not correct me.
I'm pretty sure there is.
I'm pretty sure you can
Alright,
do it so
guys.
that way you can have one or the other.
Okay.
You guys can compare who's better later. But right now, we got to get
I'm better.
a game going. We gotta get
Okay,
Gary going.
now the survivor's main effort is to try and escape with as many people as possible alive. Like, the killer's main effort is to kill as many people and prevent them from going through hatch, most likely.
That is the hardest way to do it. No matter what, it's literally easy to get 3 people. The only difficult part is making sure the last person doesn't get the hatch. And typically there's the toxic player just trying to lure the killer over there, just that way they can watch you jump through the hatch. It's a very mean move.
Yeah. Some of the things that the survivors have to do that make the game more challenging is different QuickTime events, and if they screw up the QuickTime event, the killer instantly knows their position. Like, they have quick times when they're doing generators, healing others. It just makes the game more difficult. The way the killer has to kill people is that the killer has to hook them on the different hooks that are assorted around the map, but there's specific add-ons to let you do a Mori. Which, Tyson, do you want to explain the Mori?
Alright, so basically the standard way to kill a person in this game mode is you have to hook them twice or 3 times. It all depends on like how you do it, because like if they have like this kill code for how long you can be on a hook. Hooks are the typical way to do it, but say you have this Mori, I think it's called. Jonah knows
Yeah,
how
it's
to pronounce
Mori.
it. So it's Mori, and basically there's 2 types of Moris, and then they have 2 variants of those Moris. And how they work is you have like the cheaper, quicker, efficient one, which you get through the Bloodwood, which I'm assuming he's gonna explain more later.
Yeah.
You get that, and it's more abundant because it's less rare. And what you do with this is after you hook one survivor once, then the next time you get that survivor in your hands, you can just immediately kill them, which helps you out because then there's less survivors helping each other escape and healing each other. So therefore, it's just way easier because you're just barely narrowing out the group. It's really easy. Then you get the more better one, which is the more rarer one, where it doesn't matter how many survivors there are, you can just immediately kill them after their first hook. So therefore, say I just hooked this kid off on the hook once and he gets off somehow, I kill him. Well, with the less rare one, I can only kill him. Say I have the more rare one and I kill this one, now I get this kid hooked and he gets off somehow, which I definitely don't believe in. I can immediately kill him the next time he's in my hands, and that's good because then there's just 2 people down. Well, obviously it's a 4-man game. With the rare one, you can do it with all 4. There's also one where you can only do it to the last survivor, and then I think there's one with one of the killers where that's like one of their actual skills. So it's all a give and take thing.
Yeah. Some of the other things with the killer is that one of the survivors will be obsession of the killer, which they have little claws around the bottom of the screen.
Means absolutely nothing.
For some of the killers, it means stuff.
Means absolutely nothing. Michael Myers is the other one, but I have yet to witness one killer that actually go by those rules because all it is a blood point boost.
Yeah, like Huntress, I'm pretty sure she has one, where if you hook your obsession first, she gets an XP boost for her blood points. There's also one for another killer that they're supposed to go after their obsession last. Otherwise, they start losing tokens that like let them do different things. Back to the Moris. There is Michael Myers, which he's the one that has the add-ons that let him just straight up kill. Like it's the Michael Myers is one of the stranger killers. He's more passive at the beginning and then gets more deadly as time goes on.
Now, isn't he a DLC?
Yes,
he is a DLC.
Okay.
The standard killers you get are the Trapper, which has bear traps. You have the Witch, you can place teleport spots, I guess is what I'm going to call them, which she's the first one that introduces hexes, which is unconventional perk, which honestly, if used correctly, can change the entire gameplay altogether. Then you have the Doctor, which he has nothing special other than the fact he can make you go insane, which the only problem with that is the game's interpretation of insane is just screaming at walls constantly. And when you do that, a killer's more approach, other than scratch marks, is listening. The more you realize that listening is a key, the better you become at it because you can hear injured survivors, you can hear the ones screaming at the walls, you can hear them jumping over stuff, or if you're really talented at it, you can just hear them moving. Yeah. And on some maps that's easier than others because the grass really helps with that, and you can also see that, but that's just common sense.
Also stairs. You can hear survivors going downstairs really easily.
Yes. And then the other killers because there's the Doc, the Hag. It's not called the Witch, it's called the Hag. The Trapper.
Isn't the nurse there?
The nurse is one of them. Her specialty is teleporting, which all of these killers kind of have a loop around, kind of like loophole. Some are more abundant than others. I don't really know the Docs. The Trappers is literally watch where you step. The Hag is if you are prone over her little hex charm thing, then it won't go off, so therefore it's really easy to avoid, and if you have a flashlight you can flat out destroy it altogether. Then there's the Hag. She can teleport, but while doing this she has to charge up an ability, and while doing it she cannot hit you. So if you're skilled enough to know when she's doing it, if you run at her, she'll teleport, she'll get exhausted because that's the downfall of her ability, and then you literally immediately lose her unless she's a god, which is sometimes the case. Not really.
Yeah.
What other default is there? I think there's one more I'm missing.
Yeah, I think there's...
Farmer.
Hillbilly.
He is a wonderful one because unlike the other ones where they have to 2-hit you before you go into a down but out state, not down but not out state, but the Hillbilly throws that off completely because he has 2 weapons unlike most killers. He has the chainsaw and he has the mallet. The mallet is just typical melee, but if you use the chainsaw, you can charge it up. Then you can do a charge run, which it lasts until either you quit or you hit something. but while doing a very slow turn speed, unlike the Cannibal, which is a DLC, which is literally just a reskin of him. And you can instantly down him, and that's the big pro to him. So depending on how you use this, can also be another game changer, which I'm pretty sure you mentioned the other day is one of the ones people consider the OG.
Yeah. Some of the most overpowered killers that the game has recognized is that the Nurse and the
Hillbilly?
No, the Nurse, Hillbilly, and Hatchet Girl. What is her name? Huntress are some of the best killers in the game because they have really good map control. I feel like we're neglecting the survivors a little bit because a lot of the survivors also have some really good perks. Like there's a character who has Decisive Strike, where if a killer picks you up, if you hit a quick time event, you stab them in the neck with something and you can get away for a short period of time.
Once per carry.
Yeah, once per carry. There's Sprint Burst, where you can, if you just walking around and the killer finds you, you sprint burst at 150 times your normal speed. 150%. We also have to not neglect the DLCs. That's how they've been adding more and more to this game, is the different DLCs, and with every DLC we get a new map. Like the last DLC added Legion. He's one who's supposed to be better for the looping, because survivors are really good at looping at like rank 1s. He completely negates that. There's the different killers that are DLC that I feel like are a lot easier to use. Then there's different survivors that make the game a lot easier to do.
I might add on to DLC. First off, I would like to say I dislike the indecisiveness, because only about like 1/8 of the DLCs you can buy with in-game content, and then the rest you have to use out-game content, which is actual currency. I wish that they'd be more consistent with that. And also, there's a big tendency that when they add a DLC character, typically it's based off an actual movie. Like we kept mentioning, there's the Huntress, which I can't cite back to, but it's a horror movie. There's Michael Myers, which is from the infamous Halloween. There's the Cannibal, which is literally just Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw, the real story event. Then
don't forget Freddy Krueger.
There's Freddy Krueger, which I don't care who you are, if you use him, you suck. It's literally not hard to use. It's the cheapest character in the game, to my opinion, to this day. And then there's, like, for instance, the Pig from the Saw series, which is the lesser-known villain in that one, which really throws up the game, which makes it a little interesting, because some of the DLC characters do that. Then there's the Legion one, which is the only one that can sprint at you other than the Hillbilly. So
yeah,
there's stuff like that, which is kind of interesting, but I just wish they'd be more consistent with currency reasons.
So who are the DLC survivors?
DLC survivors tend to go, if it's based off a movie like previously mentioned, it would be the killer's obsession. So therefore, in the Michael Myers, for instance, I'm not very sure of the movie myself because I'm not a big fan of it.
Pretty sure it's Laurie Strode.
It is Laurie Strode, which
And
I'm
that's-
assuming that's one of the family members. That's all I'm aware of.
And she's in the game. She's like one of the characters that are in the game.
Okay.
They usually add whoever like the main person is fighting against the boss, like the killer, as the new killer, the new survivor that they add in with the killer. With every DLC, you get a new survivor, killer, and map. The map is usually their base, but their main base. Like when they added Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, and then the house map where they do the final showdown with Michael Myers in the movie.
This is really relevant because then also they do the same thing for Freddy Krueger. They have the infamous school where he was burnt in.
Yes.
And that's where that one takes place. I can't tell you the character for that one. It was one of his victims. Then the Saw one's the easiest one to relate to because I know more background on that one. It's literally the packing plant no, not the packing plant.
Isn't it the packing plant?
It is a packing plant because that's where all the Saw TVs are. No matter whether the pig is on there or not, like how in Michael Myers, whether or not Michael Myers is the villain, they always have his theme intro when entering the map, which is a very confusing thing because a lot of people just assume that means Michael Myers is there, but it's really not. It's literally just how the game intros. But the Saw one, it has the pig, and it has literally a scene from the movie as a playable play space. Then for the Survivor that was added to that one, it was one of the detectives. I want to say it was Saw 2 or 3, one of the more well-known ones. And that's just basically the whole relative. That's all the really story they give you is the character, the map, and the Survivor. And if you are an intellectual on anything behind that, then you can relate to the story and or movie that it's portraying.
And before we go, we still need to explain the blood webs. Ethan, do you want to take over the blood web?
Talking about all like the perks you can have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do a custom game, yeah, you probably shouldn't let me do this. But if you do a custom game, you can have all the perks you want. But blood webs, you can have up to how many perks? 4.
Depending on the character you're using, you have to slowly level up the character. Like level 5, the very start,
Right,
you get
you have
one
to
perk. Level 5,
You
you get
have to
2
get blood
perks.
points for that, right?
Yes.
To keep leveling up your character, then the more you level up, the more perks you can get.
Yes.
Okay.
Then there's also some of the teachable perks. If you get a character to, I think it's level 30, level 35, and level 40.
Oh, that is basically when you unlock their personal skills, because each character has 3 personal skills, and once unlocked, which is, I'm pretty sure it's level 30, no, 35, 40, and 45 if I'm correct.
Oh yeah, it is 45. It is 45.
It's a little off on average number scale, but basically then that's when it does it. And then but most characters have their obviously better perk, and that's typically the last one. Like for instance, Claudette, the only reason anyone ever plays Claudette is because she can heal herself. So with knowing this knowledge, they place the heal yourself perk at the level 45 spot, so therefore you have to actually invest time into playing said character and unlock it. And then once done that, then you can lock it for any character. And then there's the Shrine, which updates, I'm pretty sure, weekly.
Yeah, it's weekly.
It's weekly or bi-weekly. And then what happens is you can just buy, and this goes to both killers and survivors. I don't think it's always split 50-50, but I am sure that always has at least...
I've not seen it split 50-50 ever.
So there's always at least 1 killer perk, and then there's typically 3 survivor perks, and that's basically what you go by on that.
All right. We're going to end that there. All right. This has been fun, guys.
Yeah.
This is our 5th video, and this is all we had to do for our J-term, our project. But I think we're going to keep going on this.
Maybe.
Move forward and forward. I'm not sure about this kid.
We might.
All right.
If we do, we're gonna definitely bring in more special guests.
Yeah, we're
like
going to
this.
definitely spice it
this
up.
one right here.
We're definitely going to spice it up.
Wolfpack.
Change it up as soon as we kind of get done with
Those who don't
J-term.
know,
If we do continue this, you'll see another video out.
Yeah. I will probably post a video out if we're going to continue this. This guy, I'm more worried about continuing this. I'm definitely all in on this, guys, but
I'll show up every once in a while.
yeah, not sure about this kid. But please subscribe, leave a like, comment if you want. If you want us guys to keep going, please comment.
Like us on Twitter, Instagram, and check us on Facebook. We're gonna have some gameplay by a nice YouTuber that I know named True Talent. He's gonna be in the description.
who is this kid?
And if this is our last video, it's been fun.